Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel, the DevOps Bucket. In previous video, we have seen about the Kubernetes architecture and about the CKA certified related information till now. So now we are proceeding further in the Kubernetes course. Okay, today we were looking into the few of the Kubernetes objects. Okay, Kubernetes objects. Those are the building blocks of Kubernetes, which we generally use in day-to-day life, and also we will get some of the questions on these as well. In the from the previous video is the pod, okay, and the another important one is called namespace. And from after the pod, there will be some controllers, as I said previously. One of them is deployment, and one of them is stateful set, daemon set. Okay, so these are the main building blocks. First, let us start with the namespace. What is namespace? Previously, if you remember previous video, if you have not seen that video, please go and watch. I explained entire architecture in 20 minutes. Please go and see that video. Okay, so this is the cluster. What the cluster means? Both control plane node and the normal or normal node which deploys the workloads. Correct. So this is called cluster. Now, if you see this combination called cluster, if you want to deploy your containers into this cluster, let's say you have your Python application is deployed on this cluster, or your Java application is also deployed on this cluster. If you want to isolate between these containers, how will you achieve this in the Kubernetes? Then it comes a concept called namespace. Namespace is basically a logical separation of your workloads. This is, let's say this is one namespace, this is one namespace. So like this, inside the cluster we will logically separate the workloads that we are running. That's the namespace. Basically, if you see, it's just to remember, it means that your cluster is getting divided into multiple parts. Okay, multiple parts like this is one part, one part, one part. Okay, each part is logically isolated. The In this particular block you will deploy your workloads, in this particular block you will deploy your workloads, this particular block you will deploy your workloads. It's like grouping your workloads and keeping them in isolated environment. That environment is called namespace. And namespace is a logically division of your cluster into multiple parts. Each part acts as a isolated environment. Okay, showing all these components will be inside these namespaces only. Either that is one namespace, or maybe multiple namespaces, or maybe any number of namespaces based upon your requirement. Basically, whenever you install Kubernetes, there will be few namespaces that is created by Kubernetes itself. First main important one is kube system. Kube system. In the previous video, I explained you the controller components, right? API server, scheduler, etcd, etc. Those are deployed in this namespace, in this kube system namespace. This name implies that it's only for the system pods, system containers. Okay, and next, there are also few other namespaces also will be available for the Kubernetes namespace. So kubeless and Kubernetes public namespace, etc. But this is the main namespace that contains the controller pods. Okay, and another namespace Kubernetes will provide by default. It's called a default namespace. Default namespace. This will be given by Kubernetes only. It is meant for your pod deployment. Okay, your containers deployment there. Okay, so this is the namespace. I will show you. Okay, I will show you the namespace. Okay, don't worry. I will show you the namespace. That was how it looks like, and everything in this video only at the end. Okay, so this is namespace. Let's go to deployment pod now. As I explained previously, pod is a combination of containers. It's like a logical wrapping of your containers and deploying it into a single unit. That's called pod. Pod is a basic building block of Kubernetes. Okay, so what pod will contain? Pod will contain containers and its configuration, like commands, volumes, etc., env variables, etc. Okay, this will be available inside this pod. Pod is like a isolated logical boundary of your containers, whatever how many you have, but ideally there is only one container per pod, but it's based upon the use case. We can have multiple containers as well. Okay, this is pod. Coming to the deployment now. This is mostly used controller in the Kubernetes environment. This is called deployment. So what deployment means? Deployment is a controller. Okay. Previously, if you remember in the previous session, we discussed about the controller manager component of Kubernetes API, like control plane. So in which that it has multiple controllers which maintain the count of the pod. Okay, I said this point in the last video. So what it means is one of the controller is deployment, which managed by the controller manager. Okay, what deployment controller will do? Deployment controller will have one main component underlying it, that is called ReplicaSet. It is called ReplicaSet. Previously it was replication controller, that was replaced by ReplicaSet. Okay, so ReplicaSet. So what this will do? So like so in one word, deployment is basically a wrapper around replica set. Okay, wrapper around replica set. This is called deployment. Okay, so what replica set will do? It will keep the desired number of pods that you asked for at any point of time in your cluster. Okay, let's say you have asked for desired replicas equal to 3 and created this deployment object. It will initiate the underlying replica set and asks that take this configuration as desired number of replicas as 3 and then run it and just keep 3 pods at any point of time. Then if you see, the number of pods that were running should be 3 at any point of time from this deployment configuration. Okay, that is one main advantage of deployment and replica set. So other than replica set, like other than this advantage which is provided by replica set, what's the another advantage of deployment? That is, it will provide us the declarative updates. Declarative updates. What this means? Declarative update means whenever you are creating a pod using the deployment, okay, deployment will also create the pod only, but you need to mention how many pods that it should create and control its life cycle. Let's say 3 you have asked for, so the underlying replica set will always make sure that your cluster having the 3 pods from this deployment. Okay, so after the 3 pods has been started creating, later on let's say you want to update its image inside the container. Let's say your pod having containers, right? Each container will have the configuration like container image, name, envs, volumes, etc. Correct? So if you want to update any image of thing in the container, what you need to do? Generally you need to restart that old container so that it will take the another new container in place, right? So without doing that force refresh or hard refresh thing, what deployment will do? It will by default gives you a update strategy. Okay, that is called rolling update. It's a very important. Okay, rolling update strategy. This is one of the deployment strategy. Like this, it will update, it will give you the update strategy, how you need to update your old pods with the new configuration of the pods without any downtime as well. Okay, that is the main advantage of deployment. What it will do? It will do two things. One is it will always keep the desired number of pods in your cluster with the help of replica set, and deployment has another advantage that it will give us the declarative updates when we want to update the pod inside the deployment. Okay, so one of the such update is rolling update, which we generally use it regularly. What it will do? Let's say this is pod v1. Okay, this is pod p2. When you have replicas, two desired number of pods that were running with the help of a deployment, when you have updated the image, first what it will do? It will create a pod p1 of new version and pod p2 of new version. Once these are running, okay, then it will delete this old one. So then you don't feel any downtime, because first it will creating the new one, and then it will, after it is running fine, then it will delete the old one, then your deployment has been completed, that update has been completed. This is one of the rolling update fashion. There are few other updating strategies as well, I will tell you in the upcoming videos, but main advantage of this deployment is it provides a declarative updates. It will keep the number of desired count. Okay, let's see about this rolling update in somewhat detail. Okay, because the rolling update is very important for us. Okay, rolling update. Rolling update has two configurations. One is maximum surge, second one is maximum unavailable. Okay, what it will explains. See, let's say the desired replica. So desired count in the Kubernetes format it called as a replicas. Replicas means how many number of replicas, like how many number of the mirror of your pod should run in the any point of time. Let's say you have put as 4. So 4 replicas are always running. Let's say P1, P2, P3, P4 is running. Okay, now you updated the deployment configuration so that it will the new deployment should take place, but by default, as I said, it will use the rolling update fashion. Correct. So how the rolling update fashion will create? It will create a new images like P1 new, P2 new, like that, right? So how it will know, how it will decide how many to create first, how many to delete the old ones, right? So it should create new ones. Once it is running, it should create the old ones. That's fine, that's good for listening. But in practical world, how it will determine how many should I create, how many should I delete? Correct. So that gives you an idea from these configuration values. So let's say maximum surge is how many new pods should be created on top of the desired count. Let's say this is 4. On top of 4, how many you need to create while doing an update process? And maximum unavailable, how many replicas should I delete? Okay, should I delete in a point of time when upgrade is happening? Okay, let's say this is 4. Maximum surge can be, these can be in percentage as well as a common values as well. Let's say maximum surge I put 25%, 25%, and maximum unavailable will be 50%. That means that, or in the numbers it is 1 and it is 2. That means in 4 number of desired replica, only one will create a new. Let's say this is 4 already running, so it will create how many pods it will create new? Only one pod it will create new, because on top of this desired count it should create the new version based on the maximum surge value. Here maximum surge value is 1. So based on the 4 it will create a new one, P5 or P1 new. Let's say P1 new will create, and based on maximum unavailable, then it will check the unavailable. How many can it be unavailable at a point of time? 2 pods it can be unavailable. So it will delete the first 2 pods. Then it is 3 again. So now it will check again maximum search. Then it will increase 1 pod based on desired count. Let's say there are 3 only. It will create a new 2 pods. Okay, and it will remove the 2 old pods. Like this, the 2 values we can tune in the deployment, so that how many should be created on top of desired, how many should it create on the top, on the delete on the based on the desired number of replicas. This is how rolling update works. Rolling update is like updating your pods without any downtime, first creating a new ones, then deleting the old ones. Like how this is happening based on the 2 configuration value, maximum surge and maximum unavail. Maximum surge is the one which how many pods should, new pods should it create on top of desired replicas. Maximum unavailable is like how many pods that it can delete the old ones at any point of time while doing an upgrade process. This can be in a percentage or as well as the value as well. Okay, this is about the deployment, replica set and control, and the replication, the this rolling update fashion. Okay, as I said, replica set is there, right? Replica set. What this will do, this will keep the desired number of replicas at any point of time. Without deployment also, you can create a replica set as an individual object as well, but it was not being used directly. It will use with the deployment only, because the update process advantages comes with the deployment only. Okay, so to take the advantage of both desired replicas and the update strategy, we will use the deployment directly, but we can create a replica set as well. And as I said that, right, replication controller is also there at previously. So what the difference is, there is, you need to select the pods, okay, to control by the deployment object or replica set object. While selecting those pods, the difference comes, because this replica set word means there are set based selectors. I will come to this point later on. Okay, so now I think you have understood what is deployment, what is replica set. Before going into further, I want to explain you one thing called label and selectors. What are the label selectors? Let's say label. What is label? First, let's see. Label is basically you have created one object in a Kubernetes, let's say pod or deployment or anything. or namespace, anything, you will give a key value pair to the that resource, because to identify them within the cluster, because your cluster is a big cluster and having a lot of resources that was running. If you want to detect which resource that you created on which purpose, or in which production or which environment, like production, dev, etc., to how will you make sure? You will give some tags to that resource, right? That is a key value pair you will give, like how it will be like key and is a value. This is called label. Label is like tagging your resources to identify them. Okay, just simple this. Okay, then what is selectors? You have labeled your resources, that's fine, but if you want to get those resources based on these tags, we will need to select them using these selectors. Let's say you have put your in env as prod. Later you want to get this env equal to prod tagged resources, you need to use this selectors concept to select them. So label will give us the tag, selector will give us the feasibility to select those labeled resources. Okay, that is label and that is the selectors. This is very simple like this. Okay, now let's go to our cluster and check what is the namespace, like how cluster looks, how to use kubectl, and what is the comments that we discussed in the previous, and how the control plane look like, everything in the cluster environment.